So, the Blast Press event was yesterday, and we got a glimpse at all of the class skills. This video will be going over Mage. We're going to start with the non-stance skills. You can find a link to this down below. And then we're going to go through the combos. Mage has the most abilities, I feel like, because every stance that's a specific element caters to that element with one try stance. Mage has a lot of diversity in terms of abilities, but we'll get to that. So let's start off with our non-stance skills. Now, what I've been reiterating in other videos, and I will in this one as well, is non-stance skills have enhancement effects. What that means is these skills aren't going to be what you see. You can change these. For example, this skill right here, Distortion on Japan, you see it's just a threat reduction with a 30-second cooldown. What that means is with the enhancements on JP, it's a 5-second immunity. One of the enhancements might be add an immunity shield. Another enhancement might be reduce the threat by more or a longer duration. Or the non-stance enhancements are much more in-depth and skill changing than regular stance enhancements. So, Distortion seems pretty crap at face value, but just keep in mind non-stance enhancements. Blink. This is Mage's old shift skill. Teleports you forward. Grants immunity to all CC and position control effects while TPing. This doesn't say that it gives you an iframe. It does give you an iframe on Japan, so I would like to think it still gives you an iframe, but if you can die during a blink, that's some pretty feels bad, man. Or if you can't, iframe a snipe from a ranger or something, there's no outplay there. That's kind of a feels bad, man. 20-second cooldown. Not bad. Others seem to be about 30 seconds for their old shifts. Could maybe there's an enhancement to give you double blink, reduce cooldown, further distance, who knows. Disenchant. Now this is pretty interesting. I don't believe mages have this on JP, but this is a cure effect. Remove one burn, curse, and wound affecting each ally. It says an effective distance of 18 meters with a 10-second cooldown, but it says it's a targeted skill, so I think it's just poorly worded. It's single target. It's not like an AoE removal, but yeah, that's pretty nice. With the removal of a majority of iframes, having another class that can remove debuffs in a party, pretty good. So that's a nice little skill. Counterspell. Interrupts spells being cast, makes the target unable to cast magic skills for 4 seconds. Pretty straightforward, the exact same as JP. 24-second cooldown, not much to say about that one. Mana Shield, create a protective shield that absorbs damage by consuming mana. Press the skill again to turn it off. You can activate it when you have more than 10% of your mana. That's a nice little defensive. Doesn't say how much it absorbs to. It doesn't say if it absorbs until you're out of mana. That could be just a flat damage reduction on you. Imagine that with elemental armor, which we'll go over in a second. Mages, I wouldn't say tanky, but that's some nice little damage reduction we got going on there. You'll go but does it consume a portion of the damage? Does it consume all damage? Does the shield have a cap? Very vague tooltips, as you'll see. I think this is a tooltip error. This says obtain 200 fire, ice, and air. That would be maxing out all 3 of them on a 45-second cooldown. I mean, I could see that. But then down here it says obtain 20 fire, ice, and air. I could see it being 200 across the board on a 45-second cooldown. But why does it say 20 down below? It's kind of weird because I remember seeing one of these enhancements and it said something, it reduced the amount of element you got for 2 of the elements, but increase the amount you got for 1. So say it would go like, you don't get fire and ice element, but then you get like 70 air element. So I don't think this actually does a full element increase across 3 elements. That seems a little too strong. 20 makes a little more sense to me. But on a 45-second cooldown, 20 isn't that good either. So sleep, this is pretty cool. It's like a polymorph or a paralyze or sleep, I guess, in other games kind of deal. 1.5 second cast. Enemy falls asleep, unable to move. Target quickly recovers health, so you can't just do it and keep them low on health. And they wake up if they take damage. Does not trigger resistance calculation. This is huge. For people that don't know, there are two types. I'll just go through this quick. There are two types of kind of hit checks in the game. One checks against your accuracy, and then two checks against secondary defenses from players, whether it is physical or magic attacks. Magic attacks have a chance to be magic resisted from classes such as Paladin and Mage because of the Int and Wisdom. It gives them magic resist. Does not trigger resistance calculation. What that means is if you're hit capped, this skill will never miss, no matter how much magic resist someone has. My assumption, obviously, but that's pretty big. When used on a player, only lasts 10 seconds, obviously reduced, but still 10 seconds you take someone out of a fight. If you, any sort of experienced PvP players know, you get someone to burn their cooldowns, you all peel off him, Mage throws the sleep on him, done. You just took, you could throw the sleep on the pally, he shifts it, he's out, right? You gotta get him to burn a CC break, throw that sleep on him, that dude is out for 10 seconds if you guys don't touch him. Very, very strong skill. I really like this skill. I like where this is going. Cast time, not too long, not too short. I like this. Elemental armor. 45 second cooldown, but lasts 30 seconds for a 15% damage taken reduction. Another kind of, combo with Mana Shield. Sounds pretty good. Armor transforms into phantasmal armor when more than 25% of your health is consumed by a single attack. So if someone hits you really hard, you gain phantasmal armor, which absorbs 30% damage taken from the next attack. So basically, it's good. It's not like crazy, but if you get chunked really hard, the next attack that hits you will do reduced damage. So if it's another chunk, it'll get reduced again. But if it's like little itty bitty damage, kind of removes it. When hit by a melee attack, inflicts stun effect, making the target unable to move. Now, this isn't really worded coherently, but this is only off of phantasmal armor on Japan, so I assume it's going to be the same here. That stun isn't any time you get hit with a melee attack, it's only when you have phantasmal armor and then they hit you again. So if a Zerker jumps on you and they slam you, they have to hit you for 25% of your health to proc phantasmal armor, and then once phantasmal armor procs, if they hit you with a little skill, you can stun them. So non-stance skills. Blink, I think this is, I don't know if you can even ever play without this. You got Blink, Distortion, Disenchant, Situational, Counterspell, situational but strong. Elemental Discharge, good filler. Sleep, I mean, PvE, PvP, it has the equal cooldown to duration. Sleep sounds pretty solid across the board. Mana Shield, have to see the numbers on this one. Could be really strong, could be terrible. Elemental Armor, same thing with Mana Shield, kind of situational, but I'm looking at like Blink and then Discharge and then kind of these three most of the time, and then Counterspell when you think you're going to need an interrupt. This is situational. I mean, you could use this in PvP as well, but I don't really know how often you're going to need to remove Burn, Curse, and Wound in PvP. But so yeah, non-stance skills. So I'm answering questions while I do this in chat. So I'll read a little chat and then we'll catch up. Care Bear Hearth with his PvP immunity. My sparkling wings, dude. Links in chat. Lineage 2 Sleep is back. Anyone know if other CC effects can be resisted? Stun, Knockdown, Knock Up have a stat called, it looks like Stability on NA, which gives resistance to those two. Snares, Roots, Slows, and other things do not. But there is a, like, if it's a melee based attack, it can be dodged, blocked, or parried. Hard cap on hit. Notice a lot of dodge evades on JP even with 100% hit. Correct. Hit doesn't check against secondary defenses. Hit only checks against your accuracy. So We'll go over that after the video. I can go over that, but once we finish Mage. Imagine Zerker getting stunned every time when he hits you for 30 seconds. Well, the stun would have diminishing returns as well. So, what class has burns, curses, and wounds? Mages have burns. I don't know if anyone has a curse. Wound is Zerker and Guardian. Wounds are healing reductions. Bleeds are classified as bleeds. Okay, so Mage, stance, combos. This one might take a bit. I'm gonna try to go through these kind of quickly. Mages have, so for anyone that was watching the Mage gameplay, and a lot of people are saying mages have mana problems. There's a reason they were having mana problems, is because they weren't regenning mana correctly. With Mage's basic attacks, on at least Magic Shot, you have a tier of enhancements that give mana regen, and I assume no one took it, which is why they kept running out of mana. So, your basic attack chain, this is how you get your mana back. You could just spam Magic Shot too, I don't see any reason to go up the chain, to be honest. I guess to get Element, it says 50, but I bet it's only 5. I think the zeros are I think it adds one too many decimal points, but this is how you regen your mana. Magic Shot. You spec into it, you spam it, you get mana back. This is your basic attack or auto attack chain right here. Just go through that over and over and over. No cooldown, nothing stopping you. Spam it if you want. You can then go Magic Shot into Fireball. Classic Fireball. Cast it, do damage. Nothing special there, just like every other game you played. Then we have Area of Effect Fireball. Creative naming. Same skill, same cast time, same damage, except it's AoE. Pretty straightforward. Incinerate, Magic Shot into an instant cast Incinerate, solid damage there, kind of close to Fireball. And then Fiery Meteor, another instant. Do we have any cooldowns here? Let's see. 10-second cooldown on Incinerate. Fiery Meteor does not have a cooldown because it is gated by the Incinerate cooldown of 10 seconds. You'll see that Mage has a lot of duplicate abilities across their combos, but different effects. So keep an eye on that. Next combo, we have Kindle. Instant cast, damage and burn. Burn is just a damage over time, but if left unchecked, the damage on burn can ramp up. Well, it doesn't ramp up, but it'll stack up over time. No, it doesn't stack up over time. It'll do damage over time. We'll leave it with that. Kindle, instant cast into an AoE Fireball. Same thing as before, right? Into Ignition. Deals damage. Instant cast damage. If burn effect is applied, which it will be because of the chain, it affects additional nearby targets within 6 meters. Resets the duration of the burn effect affecting the target. Sick little fire AoE we got going on here. Single target. Bam. You cast it. Throw a burn on someone. Bam. AoE Fireball. Bam. You just spread all your burns, right? Nice little AoE combo there. AoE Fireball has 10-second cooldown, so you cannot spam this. You will have a 10-second window. Incinerate, 20-second cooldown, but locked behind Incinerate is Fiery Explosion. It doesn't have a cast time. We know it has a cast time because we saw people use it. You can use it while moving. It's a 2.5 second base cast time. It's not listed here, but we know it has it. It doesn't have a cooldown because this Incinerate before it has a 20-second cooldown. So, yeah. Kindle into Incinerate 2 instants, and then you hard cast Fiery Explosion, 2.5 seconds, but you can use it while moving. The videos will be exported to YouTube, so if you missed any of them, you'll be able to catch them on there. Appreciate you doing this. No problem, dude. No problem. Kindle, instant cast into Fiery Meteor, which is a 15-second cooldown, because our next skill is Incandescence, which is a instant cast stun for 2 seconds. Super nice little stun combo. Although it does take 3 abilities to do it, they are all instant casts. Meteor is AoE, but Kindle, put a burn up, Meteor, Incandescent, stun. Not bad. Nice little stun combo. Like I said, though, it does require 3 skills to get the stun off, so... Non-channeled nuke. Alright. Fiery Eruption. This is the old Flame Burst. So it works kind of the same without applying the buff, basically. It's a 15-second cooldown, so when you use it, you unlock the ability to choose which effect you want. So you can use it and then do Fireball, which has a 20-second cooldown, into Fiery Explosion. But with this tier, it works the same as JP, where this Fiery Explosion will do less single target damage, but be AoE. So this is... I wish this was AoE Fireball right here, would make a little more sense. But that might be a little too strong in the AoE department. Nice, sick little combo. Flame Shot, so we have instant, and then an instant meteor, but the difference is this meteor stuns. So like I said, we have 3 different meteors that are completely different. One without a cooldown, because it's locked by a previous ability. One with a cooldown, and one that stuns, that doesn't have a cooldown, but it's locked by Fiery Eruption's cooldown. So... they're all different too, for people that don't know. They don't, because you know, these don't have cooldowns, right? So obviously they don't share cooldowns. You have access to 3 meteors, each with different effects, in one stance across your combos. So it's pretty cool. Last is Ignition, same thing. If they're burned, spread the burn. Flame Strike, straight up Flame Strike. You'll see if you played World of Warcraft, a lot of these abilities are very similar. Call down a Flame Strike on the. You target the area, call down a Flame Strike, does AoE in it. Pretty straightforward. 20-second cooldown on Ignition, so that's what it's locked behind. Do Zerkers have a slow? I don't know if they have a slow anymore. They used to, but so yeah. PvP tier list, we will work on that. Yep. Online game that failed in Korea, yeah. Okay. No, we did not do Zerker yet. We're going in order at the top of the screen. And these will be on YouTube as well if you miss any. Okay, try stance. This stance is terrible, I think. Is that clickbait enough? I don't know. If someone can figure out what the purpose behind this stance is, I am more than happy to hear it. The closest thing I can come up with is it might be okay in PvP, I guess. I don't know. We'll go through it. It just seems like they just... let's make 3 elements at once and throw them all together. I don't know. It's whatever. It's not even a bad stance. It's just the other stance. Okay, no, it's pretty bad. But the other stances are so good, too. Avatar stance, but they forgot the Earth skills. Okay. Ice Flame. You can use this while moving. 1.5 second cast time. Does this twice. Okay, sure. Any cooldown? I don't see a cooldown. I guess you can keep using Ice Flame on this version. Into Fireball, into Fire Explosion. So it looks like we got our kind of element split here. Fireball, 20-second cooldown. So normal Fire Explosion, but the cooldown is based on the Fireball. Ice Arrow and Lightning Arrow are new. They're basically just hard copies of Fireball, but for their respective elements. You'll see this across the Mage skills. There's more skills, but they're just kind of copy-pasted elemental versions of an already existing skill. So yeah, Ice Arrow into Ice Blast, which is an instant cast damage. I assume Fireball, Ice Arrow, and Lightning Arrow are all castable on the move. Nothing states that they're not at this point, and from the little bit we've seen, it looked like it. 10-second cooldown on this into Ice Blast, which is instant, nice little damage. Lightning Arrow, 15-second cooldown into Blade Storm. Both of these have cast times, pretty good damage, but like I said, we'll have to see. I assume everything can be used on the move from what we've seen so far. So it's not a terrible little tree. Nothing special about it, but it's kind of trying to do too much at once with all 3 elements, right? It's just kind of getting pulled every which way. Static Charge. This is on Japan. It works exactly the same way. You can place the buff on yourself, an ally, or an enemy. What this does is it gives you or an ally 30% movement speed increase, or reduces the movement speed of enemies by 30%. And then on Japan, it goes over to this skill, Static Strike, which whoever you have it on, when you activate it, it does an AoE damage around the target. But, so yeah, Static Charge, 15-second cooldown. So your stance starter has a 15-second cooldown that is a movement speed modifier into Incinerate, which is instant cast damage, into Meteor, which is instant cast damage. No cooldowns, but locked behind 15. Frostbite, 20-second cooldown. Some instant cast damage. Frigid Spear is pretty big damage. That's why this cooldown's a little higher. It's instant cast. Frigid Spear on Japan gets increasing crit chance to lower the enemy's health, but it doesn't appear to be the case here. Possibly on a stance enhancement, we'll have to see. Static Strike, we just talked about that. It does give fire. It gives element as well. And like I said, I don't think these are 70. I think they're all like one extra decimal place. So, Thunder and Lightning. This is a ground targeted AoE ability that you click and call down like a short little lightning storm. I don't. What is this trying to be? AoE, I guess. Static Charge, and then you got AoE. Meteor's a little AoE. These are single though, so I guess we got a little bit of AoE here, but not something I'm really wanting to use in PvP. I mean, this is okay in PvP, but I'd probably just do this. Now probably this for the damage, but like everything's kind of going in different directions. Chilling Wind. It's a short range, short knockback. It's within 7 meters, you knock them back a short distance. It's okay, I guess. It slows on JP, so one of the enhancements might be as slow as well, but 15-second cooldown. Damage is kind of crap. Whatever. Area of Effect Fireball, 20-second cooldown. Flame Strike, same as before, ground targeted AoE. Kill Shot, this is a basic attack. 20-second cooldown because it locks Icy Wave out pretty much. Icy Wave is a hard casted 2.5 second, kind of similar to Fire Explosion, except this is AoE. So, all the time. Pretty solid skill, but it's locked behind Chilling Wind into Chill Shot. Then you have Thunderbolt into Gust. Both, I mean, Thunderbolt's whatever, instant cast damage, but I mean, Gust, this thing is terrible. Short range, short knockback. This whole, no, I'm just not feeling this stance at all. I mean, sure, you can make it work in some cases, but I just feel like every other stance is better in any situation over this one. It's kind of just like, let's just make a 3-element stance and what happens. Kind of a bad combo for PvP. Don't see the slow landing too often. Starts with melee range. Pull in skill, followed by, oh, for Zerker. Yeah, we'll definitely, I think Zerker is next. Oh, Zerker's last, but yeah, Zerker's stuff is pretty interesting now. Okay, ice stance. So now we're getting back to some more interesting stuff. Your basic attack chain, instant cooldown, no cast time, nothing. Spam this, mana regen. Ice arrow, this is the ice equivalent of fireball. Ice arrow, same thing. So you could just magic shot, ice arrow, magic shot, ice arrow. Sure. Sustained DPS. Instant cast Frostbite, 10-second cooldown. Instant cast Ice Blast, so you can pump out some quick instant cast damage. Hard cast some stuff. Instant cast, hard cast, instant cast. Looks pretty solid off the bat. Biting Cold, instant cast. Apparently no cooldown? Interesting. No cooldown combo starter, instant cast. Solid damage. Might be missing something here. Into an auto attack. 20-second cooldown, locked behind Ice Wave. So same thing as before, but yeah. Frostbite, 15-second cooldown into this skill. Freezing. 1.1 cast time. Deals damage over time to the enemy for 8 seconds and decreases the enemy's move speed by 10%. Target freezes for 3 seconds when the damage over time duration finishes. I don't even know what to think of this skill. It sounds sick. It sounds so good. Locked behind 2 instant casts and barely a 1 second cast time? Is it supposed to be a channel? It says just 1 second cast time. 1 second cast time, it just puts a dot on the target that deals damage over 8 seconds, slows them, and then roots when it ends. Yo, this sounds so good. I'm down for this. Yeah. Freezing sounds legit in PvP. Do you get multiple stances? You get 2. You can choose 2 stances to use in combat. You can swap between them freely. Ice Arrow, hard cast, Ice Attack, Frostbite, instant cast. Solid. We got solid stuff out of Ice so far. I like it. I like it. Frozen Ground. This is your Frost Nova skill. Short range, point blank, AoE, freeze. We have Ice Blast. Excuse me. Instant cast, 20-second cooldown. Frigid Spear, instant cast, big damage. So this is a nice little freeze them, instant cast, big damage. Good. Frozen Ground, then we have Frostbite, 20-second, Biting Cold, more instant casts, Chill Shot, and then over here we have Blizzard. Blizzard has a channel. It's instant cast, but you can channel for 7.5 seconds, deal damage periodically. If you move, it cancels. So this you cannot use while moving. But that sounds pretty good. All of these are on a 15-second cooldown, though. So remember, you can't just cycle through these. When you use Frozen Ground, you then have to decide which one of these chains you're going to use. And then you can't use another one for 15 seconds. So I like the trees, but you have to only stick with one. Either way, Ice looks super solid across the board. Same with Fire. I can see what direction they're going with all the skills. Lots of mobility in the sense of you don't have to stand still. You're not slowed. Instant cast. Ice, whatever you want to call it, looks really solid to me. I like it. Really, really like it. Mage feels like it had a lot of work put into it. Very well thought out. Except for this, I don't know. Everything else is they spent all their time and money on the 3 core mage trees, and then we need a 4th one. Okay. Last but not least, Air Stance. Once again, our magic shot, attack, ability, combo, basic attack chain, mana regen stuff, the usual. Lightning arrow, lightning bolt. You know, that kind of stuff. Hard casted, it's your fireball equivalent in the lightning tree. 1.4 seconds, no cooldown. Straightforward, same thing we've been seeing from the other stuff. Although with fire was, fireball into AoE fireball, okay. So yeah. Magic shot, basic attack, chain, lightning. Deal damage to the enemy and arcs to another nearby enemy. Spell effects up to 5 targets, inflicting 10% less with each successive target. On JP, you can get a passive to make it so that chain lightning can bounce between you and the other target, as well as chain lightning, thunderstorm, and your electric shot applying discharge, which when getting to 3 stacks of discharge causes the enemy to be stunned. I do not see discharge anywhere. Could possibly be on a stance enhancement, but that seems a little odd the way that the other ones are going. Along with the self-cast, self-arcing chain lightning, seems a little odd to be on that stance enhancer. So chain lightning seems alright. Gives a little bit of. It's not gonna. Chain lightning doesn't seem like you're gonna use it the same way you do on JP. It's just gonna be a little more DPS. Yeah, this is public. Did they have an event yesterday? Yes, on Friday. Extra effects for dealing damage with each element. No. No, each skill applies its own effect. You don't get different stuff by doing a certain element. Third branch in 4-2 is the stupidest combo I've seen. Well, speaking of that, we're getting right to it. Thunderbolt. Same thing as the ice tree, biting cold. Maybe this is why I like these so much, is because they're all the same, just with each element, and they're just nice. No cooldown, I guess. Instant cast, no cooldown Thunderbolt. Sure. Why not? The one thing I didn't mention is you are gated by mana to an extent, so you can't just spam Thunderbolt because you'll run out of mana, but it's only 3%. Meh. Thunderbolt into Electric Shot, you got a basic attack, into Blade Storm. 1.5 second cast time. Like I said, I assume you can use it while moving. Alright, damage. Alright, combo. This is a 15-second lock, though, so don't know how often you'll go down that way. Lightning Arrow. The only reason you use this is to get access to Thunder and Lightning, which is your ground-targeted lightning damage, similar to Flame Strike, lightning equivalent of it. Alright, damage, not bad. On JP, this does more damage towards the center and does less radiating outward. It doesn't mention it here, so maybe they changed it. There was a passive that equalized the damage across Thunderstorm, so might just be baked in now. Along the Wind. This is Mage's other mobility skill. So first of all, you can't use this unless you've used Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt requires a target for you to hit at 18 meters. You cannot use this teleport skill unless you've instant attacked the enemy. When you do use this, though, you TP forward and do a lot of damage, which is the same as JP. For a TP skill, it does a lot of damage, although the hitbox seems pretty bad on it. Grants immunity to CC and position control effects. Doesn't make you immune to damage, just CC. It is not affected by other skills that increase damage. The skill itself is nice. 15-second cooldown, that's not bad. But locked behind a targeted instant cast? I don't know. Thunderbolt, Along the Wind. And then on top of that, there's a second part to Along the Wind where you can return to your glyph. I don't really use this too often. I mean, it gives you immunity to CC on the way back. You have to be within range of it. Whatever the distance is, it's... I don't know if it's set anywhere. I don't know what the distance is. It's like 10 meters or something. It's not super far, but you have to be within the distance of the normal travel distance of the circle to reuse it. But you also get animation locked on the first TP and on the way back. So it's like, I don't know. This one's kind of awkward. Oh, effective distance 20. Ugh. Is that right? That's not what it is on JP. I don't know. That seems kind of... maybe then if it's all the way up to 20, you don't TP 20 off the first one. But either way, that's skipping the whole fact that you have to cast Chain Lightning before you can even hit it. So you're like you figure all that out and you're like, wait, if I TP, I have to hard cast a 2-second Chain Lightning before I can TP back. What? I mean, I assume there's skill enhancements to reduce the cast time of Chain Lightning, but on Japan, you can make it instant cast, but I don't see that happening here at the moment, so I don't know. Maybe when you stance swap, you gain the air element buff. Maybe it works the same as Airbender on Japan and gives you instant cast on your next air skill, but either way, I don't get it. That's the weirdest part. So last but not least, you have your AoE lightning air skills. Lightning Explosion, if anyone played any other game with a point blank AoE explosion, Arcane Explosion, Holy Nova, that kind of thing. Straightforward. You've got no cooldown, you can just spam it. It's low damage, short range melee AoE, but you can spam it. So knock your socks off. Alternatively, it also gives you access to one of, if not, I'm pretty sure, your highest DPS skill as a mage, Piercing Wind. This skill is a 6.5 second single target channeled skill. Now, there is a passive to increase the damage it does over time. I don't think we'll have it, but we might. Either way, this thing is a beast. And as you can see, it consumes 35% of your maximum mana for a good reason. This thing does so much damage. Also, it does not have a cooldown, so it's gated by lightning arrow's cooldown, meaning you can do lightning explosion. You don't even have to hit anything. You can just lightning explosion, cast lightning arrow for 1.4 seconds, and then piercing wind every 15 seconds. You can move while channeling piercing wind if you use airbender on Japan. It seems everything else you can move and cast on NA and EU, so I assume you can move while channeling this too? I don't know. This skill is super strong though, so keep that in mind when you're looking at your stances. Very good. A PvE, no brainer. PvP, yeah, I don't think you're gonna get that channel off, but good luck. We talked about that. Typhoon. This is a nice kind of AoE. We could not get the tooltip for this. No one moused over it. I assume it's going to be very similar to Japan. You turn in a circle with a tornado around you. You suck people in periodically, not constantly, and it does pretty good AoE damage actually. So I assume it's going to be very similar because this looks like an AoE tree. Yeah. And then Gust, which is another point blank AoE knockback. Suck them in, knock them back. I mean, you don't really want to be sucking things into you as a squishy mage, but yeah, that's what it does. So makes sense there. But so that's Mage. If you guys have any questions about that, please ask them down below. I'll put this sheet down below, like I said. Let me know how you feel. Let me know if anyone can figure out what this try stance is for. But yeah, seems like you got a lot of options. Fire and maybe air for PvE, air and cold for PvP. I guess this is kind of for PvP, but so I'm going over all the classes. If you want to see any other class, make sure you check out those videos. Until next time, see you guys later. Got that one now. AFK here. What is this nerd doing?